What if I told you that there is a technique so powerful that once you truly master it, the events of your life will begin responding differently to you? Not because you forced reality to obey you, but because you finally learned to direct the hidden power that has been shaping your experiences all along. What if the greatest power you have ever searched for has been with you since the day you were born, waiting patiently for you to discover how to use it? Most people move through life believing that their experiences are determined by outside events, by luck, by circumstances, or by the opinions of others. They wake up each morning reacting to whatever appears before them, never realizing that the direction of their lives was being influenced long before those events arrived. The truth is that every repeated thought, every emotional reaction, and every mental image leaves an impression upon the deeper levels of the mind. That deeper part of your mind does not argue, criticize, or analyze. It simply accepts what is presented to it consistently and emotionally, then works quietly and continuously to express those impressions through your attitudes, habits, decisions, and perceptions. Think about how often people repeat statements such as, "Things never work out for me," "I always make mistakes," or "Success belongs to other people." These words may seem harmless, but when they are repeated day after day, they become instructions. The mind begins organizing experiences around these beliefs. It influences how a person speaks, how confidently they walk into opportunities, how they interpret challenges, and even what possibilities they notice around them. Without realizing it, many people spend years programming themselves for disappointment while hoping for success. They desire one result with their conscious mind while feeding the opposite message into the subconscious mind through fear, doubt, and negative expectation. Now, imagine reversing this process. Imagine becoming fully aware of every message you are sending inward. Imagine choosing thoughts that support your goals instead of thoughts that weaken them. Every time you deliberately impress a picture of success upon your mind, accompanied by feelings of gratitude and certainty, you begin building a new pattern within yourself. At first, the changes may be subtle. You may notice that you feel calmer in situations that once caused anxiety. You may discover that your confidence increases during conversations. You may become more willing to take action where you previously hesitated. These small shifts are evidence that a new mental blueprint is being formed. The mind learns through repetition. Athletes understand this principle when they mentally rehearse their performances before entering competition. Musicians rely on repetition until their movements become effortless. Pilots train repeatedly in simulations so that correct responses become automatic. In the same way, your mind learns from the images and ideas you present to it consistently. If you repeatedly see yourself succeeding, speaking confidently, overcoming obstacles, and reaching meaningful goals, those experiences gradually begin to feel familiar. What feels familiar eventually feels possible, and what feels possible inspires action. This is why guarding your inner dialogue is so important. Every sentence you whisper to yourself matters. Every expectation you entertain carries influence. You are always teaching your mind what to believe about you and about your future. When you consciously choose empowering thoughts and reinforce them with emotion and repetition, you stop allowing old limitations to dictate your direction. Instead, you begin training your mind to support the person you are becoming until confidence replaces hesitation and possibility becomes stronger than fear. There is a brief period each day that most people pass through without recognizing its extraordinary value. It happens in the moments just before sleep overtakes them, and again in the moments immediately after waking. During these times, the mind enters a condition unlike ordinary waking consciousness. The noise of daily responsibilities fades, mental resistance weakens, and the deeper levels of awareness become more receptive to suggestion. This state is not mysterious or reserved for a select few. Every person experiences it naturally, yet very few learn to use it intentionally. Throughout the day, the conscious mind acts like a gatekeeper. It evaluates information, compares ideas, raises objections, and often rejects new beliefs that conflict with past experiences. If someone who has struggled financially for years suddenly says, "I am wealthy," the conscious mind immediately responds with evidence that appears to contradict the statement. It recalls unpaid bills, missed opportunities, and previous disappointments. This internal conflict creates resistance, making it difficult for a new belief to take root. However, when the body is deeply relaxed and the mind begins slowing down, that resistance decreases significantly. The analytical part of the mind becomes quieter, allowing positive impressions to reach the subconscious more easily. In this condition, imagination gains influence. Thoughts become more vivid, emotions become more meaningful, and mental pictures leave a stronger impact. This is why many creative ideas emerge just before sleep or immediately after waking. The mind is operating in a highly receptive mode. To enter this state deliberately, begin by choosing a quiet environment where you will not be disturbed. Sit comfortably or lie down in a relaxed position. Close your eyes and take a slow breath in through your nose. Hold it for a moment, then release it gently. Repeat this several times, allowing each exhalation to carry away tension from your body. Feel your shoulders becoming loose. Notice your facial muscles softening. Allow your hands, arms, chest, and legs to feel pleasantly heavy and relaxed. As your body settles, direct your attention inward. Instead of focusing on worries, unfinished tasks, or problems waiting to be solved, imagine yourself moving into a peaceful place within your mind. Some people picture a quiet beach at sunrise. Others imagine standing in a beautiful garden or sitting beside a calm lake. The specific image is less important than the feeling it creates. The goal is to cultivate a sense of safety, stillness, and comfort. Once you feel deeply relaxed, begin introducing the ideas you want your subconscious mind to accept. Do not force them. Present them gently as though they are already becoming true. Imagine yourself living the life you desire. See yourself acting confidently, smiling naturally, and experiencing the results you seek. Allow yourself to feel the satisfaction, gratitude, and excitement associated with achieving those outcomes. The subconscious mind responds strongly to emotion. It does not distinguish sharply between an experience vividly imagined and one physically occurring in the present moment. When you repeatedly combine clear mental images with positive emotions in this relaxed state, you strengthen new patterns of thought and expectation. Over time, these patterns begin influencing your daily behavior. You start noticing opportunities more quickly, making decisions with greater certainty, and responding to challenges with a calmer attitude. Most people spend years trying to change their external circumstances while neglecting the inner condition from which those circumstances are approached. Yet lasting transformation often begins in moments of quietness, when the mind is most open to guidance. By learning to use this natural state intentionally, you give yourself access to a powerful method for reshaping beliefs, reinforcing goals, and preparing your mind to support the future you genuinely want to create. Most people spend their lives thinking about what they want, but very few take the time to experience it mentally as though it already belongs to them. They make lists of goals, speak about future plans, and wish for better circumstances, yet their imagination remains filled with scenes of struggle, delay, and uncertainty. The mind responds more strongly to experiences than to words alone. It understands pictures, emotions, sensations, and repeated impressions. This is why creating a mental movie of your desired outcome can become one of the most influential practices you ever develop. Imagine a movie director preparing a scene for an important film. Every detail matters. The lighting must be correct. The expressions must look authentic. The sounds must fit the atmosphere. And every movement should support the story being told. In the same way, you become the director of the scenes you repeatedly project onto the screen of your mind. If the scenes are filled with doubt, frustration, and disappointment, those emotional patterns become familiar. If the scenes are filled with confidence, accomplishment, and joy, your mind gradually begins accepting them as natural possibilities. Many people make the mistake of visualizing themselves pursuing a goal instead of possessing it. They see themselves hoping for success, waiting for recognition, or trying to improve their circumstances. This keeps the mind focused on the feeling of not having what is desired. The purpose of a mental movie is different. It allows you to move beyond wanting and enter the experience of already having achieved your objective. Suppose your goal is academic success. Instead of imagining yourself studying endlessly with anxiety, Picture the exact moment you receive excellent results. See yourself holding the report card in your hands. Notice the numbers printed clearly on the page. Imagine hearing your family congratulate you. Feel the pride growing inside your chest. Observe your posture becoming more confident. Listen to your own voice saying, I knew I could do this. Stay with that scene for several moments and allow yourself to enjoy it completely. If your dream involves financial improvement, do not imagine yourself wishing for money. Create a scene that takes place after financial progress has already occurred. Perhaps you are checking your account balance and smiling with relief. Maybe you are paying bills comfortably without stress. Perhaps you are helping someone you care about because you finally have the ability to do so. Let the emotions become genuine. Feel appreciation, freedom, and security. The more senses you involve, the more convincing the experience becomes to the subconscious mind. Notice the colors around you. Hear the voices of people celebrating your success. Feel the texture of objects you are touching. Become aware of the temperature of the room. Even simple details can strengthen the realism of your mental experience. The subconscious mind responds strongly to vivid sensory impressions because they create a sense of familiarity. Repetition is also important. Watching a movie once may leave an impression, but watching it repeatedly makes every scene memorable. Your mental movie works in the same way. When you revisit the same successful scene each day, your mind becomes increasingly comfortable with that version of yourself. What once felt distant begins to feel expected. Doubt loses some of its influence because you have mentally rehearsed success so many times that it starts to seem normal. Eventually, these internal rehearsals affect your actions. You speak differently because confidence has been practiced. You make better choices because achievement feels attainable. You remain calmer during setbacks because your attention is fixed on the final outcome rather than temporary obstacles. A carefully created mental movie is not an escape from reality. It is a way of preparing your thoughts, emotions, and expectations so they support the future you are working toward instead of resisting it. Many people believe that thinking positively is enough to transform their lives, yet they often become discouraged when nothing appears to change. They repeat affirmations, read inspiring books, and imagine better circumstances, but the results remain inconsistent. The reason is simple. Thoughts by themselves carry limited influence when they are not supported by genuine emotion. Emotion is the energy that gives power to an idea. It is the force that determines whether a thought remains a passing mental event or becomes an impression deeply rooted within the subconscious mind. Consider moments from your own life that you remember clearly. You probably do not remember every ordinary day from several years ago, but you remember experiences that carried strong emotions. You remember celebrations, achievements, unexpected surprises, and perhaps moments of disappointment or embarrassment. These memories remain vivid because emotion acted like a marker, telling the mind that the experience was important and should be stored with greater intensity. The subconscious mind responds to emotional experiences because they signal significance. When an idea is accompanied by feeling, it becomes more believable and more memorable. This principle works whether emotions are positive or negative. A person who constantly worries about failure is doing more than thinking about failure. They are emotionally experiencing it before it happens. They feel anxiety in their body, imagine negative outcomes, and rehearse disappointing scenarios repeatedly. The subconscious mind interprets these emotional rehearsals as meaningful instructions. Over time, these expectations influence behavior. The person hesitates when opportunities arise, avoids taking risks, and unconsciously looks for evidence confirming their fears. Now imagine directing this same emotional power toward the outcomes you truly desire. Instead of merely saying that you want success, allow yourself to feel what success would mean to you. Picture yourself accomplishing an important goal and notice the emotions that naturally emerge. Perhaps you feel relief because years of effort finally produced results. Perhaps you feel excitement because new possibilities have opened before you. Perhaps you experience gratitude because you can now support the people you love. These feelings transform a simple thought into a powerful inner experience. Gratitude is especially valuable because it creates a sense of already possessing something meaningful. Most people postpone gratitude until after they receive what they want. They tell themselves they will be thankful once circumstances improve. Yet gratitude practiced in advance changes the emotional atmosphere of the mind. It shifts attention away from absence and toward appreciation. This shift influences how people interpret events, how they interact with others, and how willing they are to recognize opportunities that previously went unnoticed. Certainty is another emotion that strengthens mental impressions. Certainty does not mean pretending that obstacles do not exist. It means maintaining confidence that difficulties can be overcome and that progress is possible even when immediate evidence is lacking. A person who acts with certainty carries themselves differently. Their voice becomes steadier. Their decisions become more decisive. They recover more quickly from setbacks because their emotional state is not entirely dependent on temporary conditions. Excitement also has a powerful effect because it energizes action. When people genuinely look forward to their future, they become more motivated to prepare for it. They study with greater concentration, work with more enthusiasm, and persist through challenges that might otherwise discourage them. Emotion creates momentum. It transforms goals from distant ideas into experiences that feel worth pursuing. Every day you are sending emotional signals into your subconscious mind. Fear teaches it to expect limitations. Frustration teaches it to anticipate struggle. Gratitude, confidence, and excitement teach it to prepare for growth. By consciously choosing emotions that support your aspirations, you provide your mind with the fuel needed to reinforce empowering beliefs and strengthen the vision of the person you are becoming. There is a conversation taking place inside your mind every single day, and most of the time you are not even aware of it. It begins the moment you wake up in the morning and continues until you fall asleep at night. It comments on your appearance, evaluates your abilities, predicts future outcomes, and interprets every situation you encounter. These silent words may seem insignificant because no one else hears them, but they possess tremendous influence over the direction of your life. They become repeated instructions that shape your beliefs, your emotions, and eventually your actions. Many people unknowingly use this inner dialogue against themselves. They speak internally with a level of criticism they would never direct toward a close friend. They tell themselves they are not intelligent enough, talented enough, attractive enough, or fortunate enough. After making a mistake, they say, I always ruin everything. When facing a challenge, they whisper, I probably cannot do this. When opportunities appear, they assume someone else is more deserving. These thoughts may pass through the mind quickly, but because they are repeated so often, they begin to sound like facts instead of opinions. The subconscious mind does not carefully analyze whether these statements are fair or accurate. It responds to repetition. If you continually describe yourself as incapable, the subconscious mind starts accepting that description as part of your identity. Once an idea becomes linked to identity, behavior naturally follows. A person who secretly believes they are destined to fail often avoids situations where success is possible because failure feels more familiar. They hesitate before speaking, delay important decisions, and abandon goals too early because their inner conversation is constantly reminding them of imagined limitations. Consider how children learn about themselves. They often believe what authority figures repeatedly tell them. If they hear encouraging words, they may grow up feeling confident and capable. If they hear criticism consistently, they may carry those messages into adulthood. As years pass, people frequently continue repeating old labels without questioning whether they still deserve a place in their minds. An individual who struggled in school years ago may still call themselves unintelligent despite gaining knowledge and experience. Someone who faced rejection in the past may continue expecting rejection long after circumstances have changed. Changing this pattern requires awareness. The first step is learning to observe your inner dialogue without immediately accepting every thought as truth. Throughout the day, notice the statements you make about yourself. Pay attention when you complain internally, predict negative outcomes, or exaggerate temporary setbacks. Ask yourself whether these thoughts support the person you wish to become. If they weaken your confidence or reinforce old fears, they deserve to be challenged. Replacing limiting conversations does not mean pretending that difficulties never exist. It means choosing language that encourages growth rather than defeat. Instead of saying, I never succeed, remind yourself, I am learning and improving with each experience. Instead of thinking, I am not ready, consider saying, I am becoming more prepared every day. Instead of expecting disappointment, affirm that opportunities can appear in unexpected ways and that you are capable of recognizing them when they arrive. At first, these new statements may feel unfamiliar. That is normal because the mind becomes comfortable with whatever it hears repeatedly. The goal is not to force yourself to believe something unrealistic overnight. The goal is to introduce thoughts that move you toward possibility rather than keeping you trapped in old patterns. Over time, repetition gives these new ideas strength. They begin influencing your emotions, changing your expectations, and encouraging actions that align with greater confidence. Every sentence spoken within the privacy of your own mind matters. Your inner dialogue is more than commentary on your experiences. It is a continuous process of self instruction. When you deliberately replace words of limitation with words that inspire progress, resilience, and belief in your potential, you begin teaching your subconscious mind to cooperate with your goals instead of resisting them. One of the greatest mistakes people make when attempting to transform their lives is expecting immediate and dramatic results. They practice a new mental exercise for a few days, repeat affirmations for a week, or visualize their goals several times, and then become discouraged when their circumstances appear unchanged. They assume the method has failed, when in reality, they have simply underestimated the importance of consistency. The mind, much like the body, responds to repeated training. A single workout does not build strength, and one healthy meal does not restore perfect health. Progress occurs through small actions performed regularly until they become part of who you are. Think about learning a new language. During the first few lessons, words seem unfamiliar and difficult to remember. Pronunciation feels awkward, and conversations appear impossible. Yet, students who continue practicing every day eventually begin understanding sentences effortlessly. They stop translating each word in their minds because repetition has created new pathways of learning. The same principle applies to the development of empowering beliefs and mental habits. At first, imagining success may feel unnatural. Speaking positively to yourself may seem uncomfortable because you have spent years reinforcing opposite messages. However, repeated exposure gradually makes these new ideas feel normal. Your subconscious mind accepts what it encounters most often. If you have spent years focusing on fear, scarcity, disappointment, or self-criticism, those patterns have become deeply familiar. They influence your expectations without requiring conscious effort. Replacing them requires patience because familiarity cannot be changed instantly. It must be replaced with a stronger and more frequently repeated experience. This is why daily practice matters so much. Every session of visualization, every moment of gratitude, and every empowering statement contributes to building a new mental foundation. Imagine a gardener planting seeds in fertile soil. After placing the seeds into the ground, the gardener does not dig them up every morning to check whether roots have formed. He understands that growth occurs beneath the surface before it becomes visible. He waters the soil, removes weeds, and trusts the natural process. In many ways, your mind operates similarly. The results of mental conditioning often begin internally. You may become more patient, more optimistic, or more willing to pursue opportunities long before external circumstances noticeably improve. These internal changes are signs that the seeds are developing. Consistency also helps protect you from being controlled by temporary emotions. Everyone experiences moments of doubt, frustration, or discouragement. Challenges arise unexpectedly, plans sometimes fail, and setbacks can create uncertainty. When mental training becomes a daily habit, you develop the ability to recover more quickly from these experiences. Instead of allowing one difficult day to determine your outlook, you return to practices that remind you of your intentions and strengthen your confidence. Daily repetition acts as an anchor that keeps your attention focused on long-term goals rather than short-term disappointments.